The process of coming home to yourself as a wild woman, as someone who is getting back in touch with her innate intuition and with the things that truly sustain us, many of which have intentionally been taken away. This is not a process that is Instagrammable. And what I mean about that is very often the inner work, the deep work that we need to do to reconnect with our inner wisdom, our inner knowing about things, is not something that looks pretty in pictures. And it's also not performative. It's not something that is going to necessarily look like a priestess ritual or a circle around the fire, although those things potentially may be helpful. But if this is an authentic change, a wild woman is reconnecting with the deep truths, the ancient truths that are inherent within the cycle of nature and cyclical living, the cycle of the year, the cycle of her body, the cycle of the day. And often that brings up topics that are very triggering. Yeah. For me, when I was going through this process, there was a 3-month time period where I was literally unable to do anything. I could not work. I basically couldn't function. I knew that I can no longer move forward in authenticity in my work and in my life without reconnecting to my core and without reconnecting to not only the things that sustain me, not only the things that keep me healthier, but the reason why I am here, which has a lot to do with our connection to the divine, to the sacredness of all things. And it was when I connected with the traditions of Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, Eastern thought, that I realized that there's so many other ways of viewing the world than we do in the West that are not only very legitimate, but really much more life-giving, that I started to see the power within those things, not just to shift my mindset, but to shift my health and my well-being and to shift my emotional state and my spiritual state. And as I gave myself over and surrendered to the idea that I didn't have to be in this patriarchal mindset where I had to show up to the corporate job and be the same every day, produce the same every day, have the same body every single day, I started letting myself free. And what came from that was something really unexpected and quite life-altering. I started to hear my inner voice again for the first time since I was a very little girl. And I remember this being different for me when I was very young. My earliest memories are of being out in the trees, looking at bugs, seeing the way the light filtered through, communing with nature, communing with my thoughts, communing with God, which was just an automatic given for me that God was there. Feeling as a whole person, like feeling whole, feeling embodied. And there are so many things about the way that we live and the society that we live in that have taken those innate human rights away from us to be whole. So when I talk about the power of cyclical living, and when I talk about really connecting deeply with your inner wild woman and rewilding your life, this is what I mean. Getting back to this state of wholeness, getting back to the place where you're trusting yourself again, coming home to yourself is what it is. And it's not always pretty. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about helping other women walk this same path that I have walked. Because on the other side of this, there's so much clarity, there's so much effing empowerment. I don't question my own inner wisdom anymore. And I fully see the matrix for what it is. So that allows me to opt out of things that do not serve me or my family. And that has changed everything for us about our health and well-being. And many other things as well that have been extremely edifying, like being able to hear your inner voice again, feeling a connection to nature, feeling that wholeness and that embodiment again. Game changer. So if this is something that you want help with, this is what I do with my one-on-one clients. Yes, we use Eastern wisdom. Yes, we use aromatherapy. Yes, we use a lot of different grounding tools, but ultimately the goal here is to help you get back to that childlike state where we were really free, where we were really whole, and to begin to embody that out in your life and see where it leads. And very often it leads to some very interesting paths. So if you need help with this, reach out or book yourself a discovery call.